You would be surprised by the amount of people who have said to me,
"Who are you? And what are you doing in my house?"
But you would also be surprised by the amount of people who have said to me,
"You make a great father, Andy."
This keeps happening because ever since my mid-20s, more and more of my friends are having kids. So this had me thinking, what was I doing in that house? And also, would I make a good father? Am I good with friends' children because they're not actually mine? I can just leave after 20 minutes if they get annoying. And why is it my friends are always saying they're tired and they don't seem to have time to hang out with me anymore? I mean, how hard can it be? Surely looking after a baby can't consume your whole life. To prove that you can still live your own life with a baby, and to find out if I really would make a good father, I will be getting myself a baby for a week. And of course, with a baby comes a government-funded baby bonus. And we all know what that means. Free plasma TVs! Of course I'm joking. I'll be spending this money decking out the new place with crap for my new baby boy, who I will call Bobbery. I've allowed myself 2 days to prepare for Bobbery's arrival. The first morning, I began by installing his car seat. This took me a little longer than I expected. My final day of preparation was spent setting up the bassinet, the playpen, the walker, the bottles, feeding equipment, toys, the jolly jumper, and bath, so everything would be perfect for his arrival. Of course, nobody would be stupid enough to give me a real baby to look after, so I'll actually be looking after a child development doll.
Hello, everybody.
These are typically given to teenagers at high school to get a taste of what it's like to be a parent.
What's wrong with my eyes?
So, it's time to be a responsible parent. I had so much planned on my first day with baby Bobbery. I decided I would take him for a walk every day. After our walk, I stopped off at the park where we played a few games.
Ready? Fetch!
He cried a couple of times, but I just shoved one of the keys in his back to stop him. After lunch, we had an excursion to the city. Aware that they only stay young for so long, I wanted to get some professional photos taken with Bobbery like so many other parents do.
Hi, I'm here for the baby photography.
Yeah, look, I'm really sorry, we don't do babies or families, we're commercial photographers, so if you don't mind, I'm really going to have to ask you to...
Take a seat? Okay, cool, no worries.
After the photo shoot, we returned home to retire for the evening. During the night, Bobbery got a little needy, so I plugged the attention key in and made him sleep on it. Of course, he still cried a bit, so I didn't get that many hours of sleep that night. By day 2, Bobbery was already starting to get on my tits. He wouldn't seem to stop crying no matter which key I shoved in his back. We went for our daily walk and I threw him in the jolly jumper hoping it would calm him down. That evening, Bobbery let loose with constant crying for what felt like 12 hours. The following morning, having slept through my alarm and more of Bobbery's attention-seeking crying, we were running late all day. We still went on our morning walk, but I was late for my game of tennis I arranged to play with a friend. I hold Bobbery personally responsible for me losing this game. A solid night's sleep would have meant I won for sure. Extremely tired and still quite pissed off about the tennis match, I really wasn't in the mood to go to swimming lessons with Bobbery, and I'd like to say I went because I was being a responsible parent, but the truth was, I'd already paid the fees for the term. In typical Bobbery style, he had an issue with swimming. I tried to check the refund policy before I left, but it didn't look promising. At home, it soon became apparent that Bobbery may have swallowed some of the water. He was sounding quite unwell and was burning up. This night was the most difficult to get through. If Bobbery, who now sounded like the child of Satan, wasn't crying, I was being kept awake by the smoke detector, which was in overdrive from Bobbery cooling down until the early morning. As always, day 4 started with our morning walk. In the park, while Bobbery played, I reluctantly cancelled my day's plans with friends because he still appeared quite unwell. So we jumped in the car and headed to the doctor's.
So what seems to be the problem today?
Well, it's my baby Bobbery. I think there's something wrong with him.
Okay, well, let's have a closer look then. You realise Bobbery's a girl?
Oh, really? Determined to get a good night's sleep, I decided it was time for Bobberina to spend a night in the nursery I'd set up for her. I decided we'd skip our walk on our final day together. I couldn't do it anymore. Bobberina, or whatever its name was doing my head in. It consumed so much of my time and energy, it took away my life. There was only one thing I could do.
How much for the baby? Why is it making that noise?
What noise? So what do we learned from this exercise? Kids aren't just for Christmas, they're for life. You have to feed them and walk them and look after them. They consume so much time and energy and money and stuff. There genuinely was more work than I was expecting. Because the fact is, there's no switching off. It's not like a job where you finish at 5 PM and you can put your feet up for the rest of the day. I had no life, no sleep, and no life. To all my friends who have kids, I'm sorry. I now understand why we can't catch up all the time. I understand why you're always running late. I understand why you've let yourself go. I mean, having kids is something that clearly shouldn't be rushed into. It's a massive, life-changing commitment. So, am I ready for kids? No. Would I make a good father? You be the judge. Whee! But you know, as difficult a week as it was, I really did get something out of it. A plasma TV.
Thanks for watching this segment of Slapdash. To view more content from this episode, select another presenter, or visit the main page by clicking on the Slapdash logo.